Broken things can become a blessing if you let God do the mending. Welcome to Broken to be Blessed Network, where dynamic women will share their experiences that will inspire, and experiences that have turned out to be a blessing. Now here's your host, Samantha McNeil.
Olivet, it's your time to share with us your journey and your testimony. It's all over to you.
Okay, 2012, the year 2012, I could say I had such high hopes. It was a very high point in my life and a very low part of my life, point of my life. 2012, it was the end of 3 years study at the Samshire Teachers College. I was excited. It was over. It was valve service. My son was excited. They were coming. Oh, Patton would say, "Oh, mommy is graduating. I'm gonna be at mommy's graduation." It was so excited. It was so fun. This young man I speak about, the opposite of Marsha. Her son being the first, mine being the last of three. Three sons and the last, the baby of the family. The cheerleader, my encourager, my support. That's what he was. A lover of others, a lover of people, want to see the best in everyone. It so happened that he was at my VAL service. After VAL service, I left for the state. Upon my leaving, I left Jamaica in late June, and it took me 3 trips to the airport to make up my mind about going. It was a time where I was so confused. The Lord was speaking to me, showing me something, telling me something, but I was not following through. I was so confused that upon my last trip to the airport, I spent 6 hours at the airport trying to decide whether or not to take the flight on that date that it was scheduled for, to change a flight or not to go. It was such a confusing state. I made several, after going to the ticket desk, I came back out. I sat in the airport at the Donald Sangster airport, making several calls just for someone to dissuade me, someone to tell me something, because there was something that I did not know was taking place in my life or was going to take place in my life. 6 hours I spent in wonderment, making so many calls. And at the end of the day, just before the ticket office closed, I went back into the Air Jamaica office and changed my flight date from the from my return trip to Jamaica for the 27th of June to July 11th, the date when my mother was supposed to return from America. So I said, let me take a flight back with my mom, and I could assist her with wheelchair and so. Little did I know that the date that I changed my flight from, my arrival date back to Jamaica, was the very day my son would die. It so happened the morning when I was leaving, I tried my best to be at home, and I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave Jamaica that day. I didn't want to leave my home that day. I wanted to spend one more night with my 2 sons that was living here. One more day I wanted was to spend, and I tried everything to get to a hairdresser to get to do my hair so I could spend one more night, and it wasn't happening. I stayed up so late, and even when I made the call to the young miss at 8 o'clock in the morning, going to 9, she said, call me back. And when I called, she said she was filled. She could not take me. So I had also journey back to Montego Bay because I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough money to stay down here and to go up for my flight because someone was picking me up on campus and giving me a lift to the airport. So I had to journey to Montego Bay, finish my hair. Also, money was limited because all I had in my bank account was just enough to buy a cylinder of gas. And I asked his dad to buy them some food and oversee them. Something that I've not done in years because in over in over 20 years, more than 20 years, I've never asked him for anything for them. He has never given me any. And it was the first time I was pleading with him because now I was alone because I'd lost my husband 5 years prior to that. So the morning he was going off, he was now in the youth service and doing well in the youth service. He had just really done his final graduation thing, but he had also go to the school where he was working as in the guidance department because he wanted so bad to become a guidance counselor. And he was leaving and he said, "Mommy, I'll see you later." And I said, "You won't be seeing me later." And he said, "How you mean?" I said, "Because today is the day I have to go." But he said, "But Mommy, it's tomorrow's your flight." And I said, "No, I understand what you're saying, but I have to go to Montego Bay because I have to go finish my hair, go back to campus and get my bags ready." He said to me, "Mommy," I said to him, "Dear, I don't even feel like going." He said, "Mommy, why are you going then?" I said, "I'm going to my nephew's graduation because my brother had passed off and left 4 sons in New York. I was going to support his eldest son at his graduation from high school." So he said to me, I broke down, he hugged me, and I broke down and started crying. And he said, "Mommy, why are you crying?" I said, "I don't want to go so much that at this stage, I still have not even told your bigger brother that I'm coming up and I have no one to pick me up at the airport." And he held me by the hand, walked me from the living room into my bedroom, sat down on an assoc, told me to take a seat. And I sat down close to him and he took his phone out, called his bigger brother and asked his brother to pick me up at the airport. He made all the arrangement, and when he was finished, he hugged me and kissed me and said, "Mommy, there's 2 things I want you to do for me, and enjoy yourself and get some rest. And I wish I was coming with you, but I know how it is." And I watched him walk from my bedroom to the veranda. He was dressed in a striped shirt and a khaki pants and a brown clerks. And I watched him walk down the walkway of my yard through the gate. And I watched him going down the road. And when he was out of my sight down the road, I ran down inside my house, past the living room, into the dining room, down to my kitchen. And I watched him through the kitchen window when he burst around the side of the house. And I watched him straight out of my sight. Little did I even imagine to myself that it would be the last final walk I would ever watch him take. And I left and I went. The next day I called him and I went to the airport and I was off. And I was so discontented in my travel. And 2 trips I made to New York, the day of the graduation, my friend was taking me with her children in the car. We got lost. We didn't end up at the graduation. We went back home. Another trip I was to make over there after the graduation, so I missed all that. I was over there on the night of the 27th of June. I remember he called me. He called me and he said to me, he was like crying when he called me. He was frustrated. He was saying he didn't know his father was that way, and he had been calling his father and he didn't come, and there was no money and no whatever, and he didn't know that the way he was. And he was frustrated with so many things, and he was talking and he made several calls. And he was saying, "Call so-and-so to come and stay. Call so-and-so, see if they can help you. Call so-and-so, see whatever can happen." And I was making these calls. And I felt like my heart was breaking. And I can remember at a point, I don't know what was going on, but I felt like I was having a heart attack because he was sounding so stressed. And at the time, I didn't even know what was going on. And I said, "Call your auntie. And he said he called auntie, but auntie's at church in Montego Bay. I said, call so and so, and he would make the calls. And I said, okay, then after a point, I said, okay, there, you know what? Do so and so and so. And he said to me, okay, then, mommy. I said, pray, go lie down and sleep, and we'll talk in the morning. And I said, okay, mommy, love you, mommy. And I said, love you, dear. And I just felt like I was having this massive heart attack. I went to lie down and I said, please, Lord Jesus, don't let me die like my brother who died in New York. I said, don't give me the heart attack, dear Lord. And I held on to my breast. And the morning I got up, I didn't sleep much of the night. And I got up the morning and I started calling, and I started calling. I called my brother, I call home. I call in him, I call in his brother, I call in another friend who always stays at my house and asking them, have you seen Pat Leon? And they're saying they have not seen him, they don't know where he is. And I call, and at a point I said, and I'm having this unease, and I'm calling, I'm saying, if I don't know what has happened to him, but Lord, if he was in hell, he would call his mother. I don't know what is happening, and I'm making the calls, and I'm saying to a friend, I said, have you heard anything on the news? Anything happened? He said, no, nothing happened. And then someone called me. I was calling my friend JJ, and JJ is consoling me and said, be at peace, nothing could not have happened like that, because I don't think anything happened. Somebody would have called. I said, it's like he cannot be found. So he went missing now. No one knew where he was. I was calling and no one knew where he was. And one day I heard some news about finding someone killed in the land isle here. And I said, oh my God. And I called the gentleman that always stays at my house. I said, go and find out if it is my son. And he said, no, it's another man. It's a man about 30, 40 years old that they found that they're chopped and shot and killed. I left New York. I left New Jersey. The Saturday evening, and I went to New York. My big son took me over to New York. Met up with my mom and to take my flight down. Sunday, we're coming down, and I was so uneasy. A friend picked us up at the airport in Montego Bay. I had limited amount of money, and no water was at my house, because when I came home, there was no water. And he had given me a bucket of water and look about water for me. So I know no water, so I got some big water tank. I had some big 5-gallon buckets at the school, so I went back up to the campus and I got them. I got a taxi. I paid the man about 2,000 Jamaican dollars and 20 years to carry me. And on my way, my mom was saying, why you don't stay? I said, no, I'm going down. I'm going to see what is happening. On my way down, I went to his father's home. When I went to his father's home, his father wasn't there. I saw one of his uncle from abroad, and the uncle asking me for him. And for his other brother, I said to him, I'm going home to talk to them. I let them know you're here. When I got home, it was only one of my sons was here, and the gentleman. He said, my other son said, don't know where he is. One of his friends saw. So he saw him over a cockfight somewhere down in Russia. I was troubled. That was Sunday. Monday morning I got up and I packed a bag Monday morning, and I put in an underpants, I put in a merino. He has never been in trouble with the law, but I was determined that Lord, maybe he's at the police station, maybe they have him in lockup, so I'm going to carry these things with me. There was no electricity at my house. A little money I had left, I decided to go pay my light bill and then head to the police station. I went to the police station, and when I got to I sent whatever I got. After I paid the light bill, I sent whatever else I got. I took with me a slice of cheese and a drink and a bottle of water and the underwears and whatever, and a shirt in case he was there. So I went into the police station and I said to an officer, I'm just wondering if by chance you have Patty and Weatherburn locked up in a cell. So I went through the books and there was no. I saw a female officer that I knew, and I said, have you seen my son? He said, how is my boy? He was asking me for my other son. I said, he's okay. It's the other one I'm looking for. Can't find him. And she said, my dear. And I said, have you heard about anyone missing or dying recently or whatever? And she said, you'd have to go upstairs and ask at the CIB office. So I went up to the CIB office and I started talking to the officer, the CIB agent up there. And they're saying, how does he look? And I'm telling them. And I said, the body that you found in Landilo, that body you found in Landa, could it perchance be my son? Was it identified? They said, no, but Missy could not be your son because they said your son is 20 years old. That man was 35 years old. And so I went through the books with the man, and while going through the books, realizing that it was not only one body that they found in Landilo. During that month, it was two bodies. One was of the man that was chopped to death, and one was a man that had drowned. And the man that had drowned, they had a age down at 35 years. And when they started, I'm looking, he was found in a cane field near a river or waterbed area on his back, drowned. And I'll say, go through the pages, read what is there. I was reading, and the pants that he was in, they talk about a corduroy pants, so forth. And I said to the officer, that sound like my son? And they said, no, miss, it cannot. I said, officer, that sounds like my son. The body was found on the 3rd of July. 3rd of July. So this was over 3 weeks now. They were about to bury this body as a John Doe because no one had come to identify the body. I insisted on the officer that I need to see this body. And he said, miss, it's almost sunset now. It's almost sunset. It's after 5. The funeral parlor is closed, and I insist that I wanted to go look at this body. And he called them at the morgue, at the Doyle's funeral parlor, and he said, he's coming around with me. And the men there was very mad with him because at that time of the evening, they don't show body. But I insisted that I want to see it. I went around there. When we got there, the men were like mad because the body wasn't prepared for viewing or anything. And they told us to give them 5 minutes. And we had also turned our backs, and they went for the bucket. And then they said we could come. And when I turned around, I've never seen a body in that format, because the first thing, the body was decomposing when they found him. I had also go as a mother with the strength of God, because he was preparing me all along for this. I had also pried open my son's mouth because I know he had a chipped tooth, and I had also proved, yes, this was him. I had also tried, although his body was iced, I had also tried to look on his underwear because I know the type is weird. The pants he was on was stuck to his body. I was looking on his fingers to see his fingers because I know how they were formed. I knew him in such a way, just like the master knew us. And I went through everything like that. And when I found that it was him, I started to really cry. And I went from there back to the police station. And when I got to the police station, I really broke down at the police station. One thing, I was alone. The thing about it, knowing, yes, and the police are saying they still don't think. And I said, the only way I can prove it, I have to go home. And when I go home, if I find his pants, the True Religion brand in his drawer, because he bought 2 of them in New York when he went the summer before. He bought 2 of them in New York, in Jersey, because he loves nice things. He loves to put himself nice, and he will work his money. And I said, if I find that corduroy brand, the beige one, it's not him. When I came home, all I found was the brown one. I'd called my sister on the road. My friend had come and met me on the road, and I had turbulence in my life up and down from the police station. We had also do a DNA. We had also get his father to come to the hospital to do a DNA. At a time, the police got so mad with the father. And we had also do the DNA test and everything while waiting on the result. I still had also be preparing a funeral because within my heart from the start, I know it is my child. I didn't want no DNA. I didn't want anything because everything told me from in New York coming down, I know something was seriously wrong. And I know if my son was in the deepest of darkest hole, he would have called me. He would have called me. And I went through so many things. It's 8 years ago that this happened. 8 years. He was not even able to make it for my graduation. He was not even able to make it for so many things. Sometimes I'm in my room, I look on a plaque, because they would always get me a birthday present. And the last gift he bought me was a plaque with a little part to put a picture on it. It marked, Mom, you care, you share, you're always there. Sometimes I look on it, I said I wasn't always there because I should have been there. I should have been there, but it did not happen. I should have been there for you. And with this, he was such a loving person. He was such a warm person. But even with Jesus being so warm and loving, he was not loved sometimes as he should have been loved. The pain of losing a child is one of the greatest things any mother could have gone through or can go through. It is heart-rending, and it's your values, your attitude, the way you have been nurtured, and nature in general, the way you have been socialized, whether you're a Christian or a worldly and the family support that you get, that counts at the end of the day. My mother told me, my aunt told me 5 years prior to that I'm a strong woman. I was given a name from a mountain, the Mount of Olivet, and I'm strong and filled with resiliences because I'm just like a mountain. And I did not know why I was given that name. And all I had was to go through the support I had with God, the closeness with God. My healing came from looking at his picture every day because the pictures were still in my living room. The plaque is still on my dresser. I talk to persons about him. I think the jokes and memories we share because we shared many things. We share a pack of banana chips. We share a pack of cheese trick. We share hide and seek in the house as old as he was. We share thoughts on the phone. I'd go into the joke box in the Western Mirror and I'd share a new joke with him and he'd share something with me. Sometimes I'd call him and I ask him on the phone, Pat Leon, you see any mus down their house? And he'd say, Mommy, the last one I saw, Mommy, you were so desperate and feeling so sad that he packed his suitcase and marched through the door. And I'd crack up. You understand? He'd say some things to me, say, Mommy, I saw some mosquitoes in here. It's Saddam Hussein send them from Iraq to come and destroy us. And we would laugh. So these are the memories of things I had. Sometimes I got frustrated. Like once I was in college and I had the sprint and I was so frustrated because it jammed upon me and I didn't know what to do. And I called him and I was going through so much stress. And he said, Mommy, just calm down, Mommy. I'm going to walk you through the process. And I'd walk me through the process. And when everything, he said, Mommy, you see how simple it was? Go ahead and print your work. Function at school would always be there. So all my classmates met him. Every day, everything I talk about him, I talk about my children, I talk about him. His name ring a bells in their head. My friends, my classmates, our guidance batch, K3, they were there in full support. They came to the house. We sat down, we talk and laugh. And at the funeral, they were there in the full number. Samantha sang some wonderful, comforting song. I cried a lot. Another day I was faced with was a day at the funeral because from the time I went to the funeral parlor that day, I did not go back I asked a friend to take his clothing and stuff for him to be dressed. I called on the phone and made all the arrangement. I sent the money. So I did not see his body again until the day of the funeral. And being in that state that he was the day of the funeral, they had something over his face. And they asked me if I wanted it removed. And I said, yes, remove it. And people cried. They cried because his handsome face was nothing like they had seen. His face had partially fallen in. It was nothing like anyone could remember now. Many persons at the funeral, they were in and out of the church as if it was not even a funeral because they were going through so much emotion. My little brother, he gave me all his partner job to help with the funeral because I was so broke. And the family came together and friends came together and they donated and they assisted because I was just out of college, no money. And they assisted from near and afar. And I was so appreciative. And I prayed after everything was done and over with. I remember before all of that, I remember a supervisor from the youth service. When I called and he came, the man sat on my veranda and cried like a baby. The man cried so much. He said when the day when he came for interview at the youth service office, the way he came in and greeted everyone because he was so warm. He was representing himself. He was such a loving and warm person. He was maximizing his truest potential. And he would go in and he just on the desk loudly and say, "Morning, everyone." And the interviewers were like astonished and aggravated by his action, not understanding him. They didn't want to have him in the youth service because they said that behavior is loud and boisterous. And that man defended him in such a way and said, this is a person we want to keep. This is a person we want. And in a few months, he got so many awards, and every function that the youth service had, he was the one who represented them there. He was a speaker for them. So they were out in their full. The song that was for their graduation, he was the lead singer, and they sang that song at the funeral. They didn't call him Pat Leon at the funeral. His batchmate called him Mr. Weatherburn because he had gained so much respect. And his life was short-lived. It was short-lived. It taught me many things. And as I said before, he said, "Mommy, money is only good when you spend it on people you love or things you love." I pray afterward, I said, Lord, I want to be amongst people to help them. And every day of my life, I try to help youths in need. And I'm happy for my job. And I'm happy to know that I can give back to others. I can do for others. And my brokenness, with my brokenness, I can be a blessing to others. And I thank the Lord and I thank Samantha for really inviting me here this evening. And I hope others who are looking on can use these tips, talk about your situation, cry about it, laugh about it, pray about it, be your true self. And when persons don't support you, because there's many persons who have got no understanding about that, they'll come and they'll ask you question, how did this person die? What happened? And they don't know that it is more of a down more than an up for you. The less you can ask, the more supportive you can be to a person who have lost a loved one. A shoulder to lean on, a glass of water, a cooked meal, a fruit, whatever you can do. Maybe wash some dishes, maybe wash some clothes. Be there for them, support them in whatever possible way. And that's the best you can do for anyone who has lost a loved one. Because in the end, you never know how that person really feels. Only the Lord alone can help them through. God bless you all.
Wow, thank you so much, Olivet. Wow, that is just so, I tell you, that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot. But God is good. Thank God for the strength that He has given both of you to endure and to continue. And the memory of your sons do live on and will be forever
Definitely
be
so.
in your heart. I'm gonna let
Definitely.
both of you do something. I'm gonna let both of you leave. I don't know, after hearing each other's story, meeting each other, uh, I'm gonna let each of you just say something to each other. Whatever, after hearing each other's story, I don't know what encouragement, both of you are women of God. I don't know what you feel in your spirit, anything that you just feel in your spirit that you could share, Olivet, with Marsha. You met her, she's on the same journey. And Marsha, you met Olivet. I don't know, after hearing her story, what you can leave with her. So I'm gonna allow both of you to do that. So
Marsha, I'm just saying that you can imagine you're from Savannah living in Montego Bay, and I'm from Montego Bay living in Savannah. You have lost your first son, I've lost my last son. It must be your destiny to have met in this way. And the support, whenever you feel like calling and having a talk, feel free to call me. I'm here. Whenever you feel like having a laugh, I'm here to crack you up. I'm definitely so. As I say, I love to travel. I'm fun. I love people. I have a passion for helping. And I'm always here. The moment you feel, I like how you say you like to, whenever you feel like crying, cry if you must. And with everything, there's good and there's bad. And your values is what keeps you going. And your strength, I'm proud of your strength for you to have accomplished so much in such a short period. The day will come, I know, when you'll see someone that looks like your son and it's fresh memories, someone who speaks like him, something happened. God is in control. He's still larger than we all are. And he knows the reason why we had to say our trials comes to only make us strong. And it has given you, it will give you more strength to help those little ones you have and help others along. You understand?
Yes,
It
ma'am.
it will give you that strength to
Thank
carry you through
you.
that you need.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
And definitely, Olivet, I so
Mhm.
agree with you about our destinies
Mhm.
at this moment, because I just
Definitely
found
so.
out, that my daughter just come in here and say, "Oh, that's my guidance counselor,
Oh my
mommy." I
God.
said, "No." I said, "I know," because you said Herbert Morrison, and she's in
Oh my
seventh grade
God.
at Herbert
Oh my
Morrison.
God.
And she said, "I'm not talking Mrs. McNeil, I'm not talking Mrs. McNeil. I'm talking my present guidance counselor." I'm saying, "Okay." I mean, God has tied us
God is
together, it
God. God
seems.
is God. I'm telling
God
you.
has tied us
God is God.
together. And he's
Definitely so.
amazing, he is amazing. And
Definitely so.
I'm happy that
Mhm.
we're meeting. I mean, strange circumstances,
Strange.
but
I'm talking destiny.
he has his purpose and his plan. And I know we can only do great
Definitely.
things together.
Definitely.
Great things together. And I'm right next door to you because I work at Montego Bay Community College. So,
Okay.
we're even closer yet.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mrs. McNeil, did you know
We're
all
like
these
a,
things?
a
yes, I
stone,
did.
a stone's throw away from each other.
Yes.
Can you
You
imagine?
see, yes.
I can
Can
walk
you
over,
imagine?
you can
Oh
walk
my
over and
God.
come and look
Oh
for
my
me.
God.
Right?
Yes.
And we can
Definitely
talk and
so.
hug and cry and laugh and do everything
Yes.
that we want to do.
Definitely. They say to treat people
Yes.
so good at
Definitely.
all times. You don't know who you're going to meet along life with. You don't know
Don't
what.
know.
And that's what I tell my students every day. Look how close home you are. You can imagine. Could not be
Yes.
closer.
It can be close. I mean, our stories have so many similar elements. Even the
Definitely.
death of our sons. I mean, even I had to do DNA testing just the same.
Oh, yeah.
We
Wow.
weren't. I wasn't even able to view his body any at all. And so we had a closed casket and all of that. And as you said, his handsome face, that a really handsome son.
I
And
can imagine.
I do see persons, you know, from behind. Sometimes I see them walking, I'm like, oh my goodness, he looks like Dwayne. But there are many happy memories. He has he has 3 beautiful children. He has a daughter.
That's one of the things I really grudge you for.
Yeah, the
Because, you know,
grandchildren.
yes, because somebody turned up at my door months down the line and was asking me about him, and she had a little boy.
Wow.
And I was down to, you sure it's not it? They were so close, and you know, I'm looking at the boy and I think she was telling me some lies. And she wanted a photograph on a funeral program. And she went and came back some weeks after for the funeral program. She was adamant that she got it, all the way from Negril. And every time it flashed across my mind, and I said, I think that girl not telling me something. Because, you know, I was hoping or wishing that he had left someone. Oh my God, definitely. So
I can imagine.
God is in control.
His older son, because his daughter is the eldest. She's just 3 really, and his son is 2. The older son is 2, and their baby is just a couple months old.
Wow.
His son looks so much, and I look at him, he's like his twin, his twin. And I mean, at the age of 2, this child remembers his father so much. His girlfriend told me that my mother actually relayed this story to me, that the 2-year-old took the photograph of his father to the brand new baby born and take it and put it over him and said, Dada. So he's telling his younger brother that this is his father, and he has such a strong memory of his father. You know, and I think about him every day. But Olivet, definitely, this is a bond made in heaven, and I know that
definitely so.
Keep us together.
Definitely so.
Yes.
And Mrs. McNeil, I'm so thankful that you really got me and Marsha together.
Samantha,
God is good. God is good.
Yes.
God is really
I was actually
amazing.
nervous at one point, and I'm like, oh Lord, camera and all this.
You know, I have to say to my student,
that's the aim of Broken to Be Blessed Network.
Oh my God, God is so good.
Connect people who share similar journey.
My brokenness has been blessed.
Yes, you can connect and help each other along the journey.
Definitely.
Yes, God is good. Amen. Wonderful, excellent in all His way.
All His ways.
God is good.
So thank you so much, ladies, for sharing your journey with us on Broken to Be Blessed Network. See, it is a beautiful connection after all. Thank you, viewers, for watching and for sharing and for liking and for most of all subscribing. And if you have not yet hit that subscription button, please go ahead and subscribe. Share this with your friends, your family, because we are building a great network right here. We are empowering, we are encouraging, and we are sharing testimonies of inspiration. Thank you again, ladies, for sharing, and thank you for being here. Thank you, viewers and subscribers, and have yourself a wonderful rest of the evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, and thanks so much. Thanks so much. God bless you.